What is up, everybody? This is Chris and Catherine.
Hi.
This is episode 10 of the Many Worlds Tavern podcast. Today we're talking all about tea. We're talking about some Many Worlds updates. We are talking about the main topic is how has gaming been good or bad for you?
Yeah.
With whatever interpretation that comes with. So, but first we're going to start off with our recipe of the week. We made some London fogs.
Well, Chris made them. I stood and watched and was amazed that our scales have timers.
Yeah.
I just learned that today.
Catherine learns a lot very quickly. So, yeah. She also told me that nobody else knows that, but I hope not. I hope that's not true.
I'm sure if I had Googled it, I would have learned. But, I don't know. When I was in the shop, we only cared about weighing things.
Yeah.
But I always wondered what the others...
Yeah. So she said they bought little timers to go with the scales, but
I always wondered what the other buttons were.
There are built-in timers.
I just never realized that they were timers.
So it is our Earl Grey tea, which is called Hazy Hills. Not available yet. All the teas, I think we're going to shoot for October 21st.
October 21st.
The actual tea, like bulk tea, has landed in the roastery today, which I was very impressed with the delivery driver. He was balancing the whole pallet like on his lift gate, and he had no fear, but I had some fear. It was teetering a lot. So, London Fog, just Earl Grey tea and some steamed milk and some vanilla
honey.
syrup.
I mean vanilla.
Yeah.
Not honey.
In
our little cat cups.
Yeah, so we take a lot of pictures of these cat mugs. They're very cute. They have little ears.
Every time I have it...
I just spilled. Keep going. Go, riff.
Every time I have them, I want to, I have to fight the urge to, turn them upside down and look at the cat right side up. Because that's my intrusive thought when it comes to these cups. But they are very cute. And, very fun to drink out of. The London Fog is good. Tastes like milk, tea, and vanilla. And you can't go wrong with that.
Can't go wrong. These are advertised as cat mugs, but I feel like they sometimes look like a bear. Sometimes they look like a seal to me.
Oh, I see the seal.
But we don't sell these. I feel like we should find a distributor.
I think we should.
Because they just make sense.
And these double-walled glass mugs are so nice for hot cups or for hot liquids.
They're good for displaying the different teas because
yeah,
with coffee I haven't really worried about showing what the coffee looks like because on camera they look pretty similar. Yeah.
Yeah, but teas, there's different colors.
Yeah.
We have all these teas. I think the the universal favorite is definitely our lavender mint sage.
Yeah, that one's super good.
It's going to be our Sage's Gate. It's delicious. It's like lavender tea, which everyone loves, but with the added mint and sage.
I find lavender to be very contentious with people.
You think so?
A lot of people think it's soapy. So
that's interesting. Because we always got questions in the shop of do you have lavender syrup?
Oh, that's true.
It was the most common question.
That's true.
Aside from what's a cappuccino if I'm not at Starbucks. But lavender tea is just so good.
It's really tasty.
It's delicious. I also really love the Nectarine Stream, which is our white tea with peach in it, which is delicious.
Yeah, it has chunks of peach. It's really pretty, just floating in the brewer. So. And
you also really what was it? The green tea?
Yeah. I love jasmine green tea in any form. So
I love this packaging. Ours. I think this packaging and the little dragons. Are my favorites.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, we'll talk more about tea in a little bit.
Yeah. Cool. I guess that's the big announcement is the 21st we're shooting for. What else do we have to announce for Many Worlds? Last week, I guess it's 2 weeks now, we had a preliminary competition for cup tasters, which is in the US, there's this whole competitive coffee scene. There's a brewing championship and a barista championship. And the thing I participated in was called Cup Tasters, where you're tasting a bunch of coffee It's in this form called a triangulation. So there's like sets of threes. There's 5 sets of 3 coffees each, and
It's
in
like
each
one
set,
of these is not like the other.
yeah, there's 2 matching coffees and 1 mismatch. So you taste all 3 and pick the one that's the wrong one.
It was
And-
cool watching you guys practice because like I wasn't going to compete because I'm not nearly as confident enough in like differentiating coffee, but it was really cool watching y'all practice and like doing all the setup and pouring everything, and it was interesting. And then y'all did well, right?
Did okay. Dean did really well. Our head roaster Dean did a great job.
So did his daughter.
Yes. So somebody dropped out, which was unfortunate, but Dean's daughter, who I think is in the 6th grade,
I think she's 10 or 11.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and she did it, and she didn't like. It was hilarious because she went up there. She doesn't like coffee, so she would taste them, and she was spitting because it's coffee. But she was making like really emotive, like gross out faces.
Yeah. But she did really well.
Yeah, she got 4 out of 5 right, which is better than me and better than most of the field. So, yeah, very fun, super fun event. There is a company called Inter-American in town that hosted that, and they're coffee importers. We get so we've gotten several Treasured Realm coffees sourced through their importing protocols. So, yeah, they're always great, and they're a good host for events like that.
What else have we done? I said that really weirdly. What else have we done? We did the Keymaster pumpkin carving
Oh yes,
yesterday. I really think it was my first time carving pumpkins,
that's fair.
which it was a lot messier than I thought it would be, and like really tiring.
Mm-hmm.
But I was pretty impressed with myself, what I was able to carve.
Yeah, you ended up with which one did you do?
I did
You
the
did-
chicken from
Yes.
Keymaster's new game that they're launching their Kickstarter in November. And then I also did like a little space robot guy
Yeah,
that went a little smoother, I think.
nice. I did a little campfire. I think it's like my 4th or 5th year in a row that I've carved pumpkins. I feel like growing up, Halloween, my parents immigrated here and kind of, I don't think had a lot of Halloween culture in the past, but I think we kind of embraced it wholeheartedly. Lots of trick-or-treating, lots of pumpkin carving, lots of I grew up in Colorado, so lots of like
Colorado.
cornfields, cornfields, and
Were corn mazes a thing?
corn mazes, haunted
Cool.
houses,
Cool.
yeah, pumpkin patch stuff. So
Yeah.
I did a lot of that. I also think I always thought growing up we'd have white Christmases, but we almost never had white Christmases. But on Halloween, like almost every year, it snowed.
Are you
A lot of
serious?
trick or treating, yeah.
That's kind of stressful.
So yeah, it was super cold. A lot of people
How do you
would
do?
drive around, like their parents would drive them
Aw.
house to house because they didn't want it to be too cold.
Oh my god!
Because it would be really cold,
Wow.
especially if your costume wasn't like
warm.
warm enough. So
Yeah. Yeah, my brothers and I always did like the trick or treating, the costumes. My mom made our costumes pretty much our
Oh,
entire
nice.
childhood.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, we never really did pumpkins to my knowledge or memory.
What about apple bobbing? You into apple bobbing?
I remember doing an apple bobbing thing at like an elementary, like a
Okay.
carnival thing.
Yeah, it's kind of gross.
It is really gross.
Yeah.
It's super gross. I don't know why it's a thing. But there's also like, I don't know if you've ever been. There's this thing. I couldn't tell you where it was because I don't think I've been since I was like 11. But it's called Dewberry Farms.
Okay, I haven't been there.
It's just essentially just like fall fair stuff.
Okay.
It's like a corn maze. It's pretty much all I can remember.
That's the main thing. Yeah.
Because like if I used to go with a friend, it was never my family. But I
Yeah.
think you could go like pumpkin patch picking and things like that.
Nice.
I couldn't tell you where it is in relation to like Houston or where we are
Sure.
now, but you know, it was fun. To
I
what I
picked
remember,
the pumpkins from Target, so I didn't have to go very far.
it was a good time.
Yeah.
I feel like I've come full circle in my Halloween experience now.
Okay. So, yeah, I think those are the main things. The tea is the big one. Where all three of us are in different directions getting ready for the tea launch. Andrew has been working on, I mean, he designed all the packaging, so
Yeah, once we
he
got the
coordinated
art.
with the artists and then started getting our assets on there
Yeah, which has been, I think the art stuff started like back in
months ago.
July,
Yeah.
like a
It's
long
been a
time,
long
a while
time
ago.
planning for tea, but there were just so many things to move on. Catherine's been working a bunch on the cards and getting a bunch of lore written for. Yeah, I guess one thing to announce is like the coffees always had in our heads like a location and lore to them, but we really never put it on the packaging or on the website. It was just kind of a loose concept. But all of the tea locations are going to be locations. We have lore written on the bags. We're hoping to retool some of the magic items in old treasured realms, and then for future treasured realms, kind of put them in the worlds
Yeah, like
of the
kind of
bags.
match them. Of like for example, if you got last month's Treasured Realm, which was the Field of
It's FedEx.
What?
We're good.
if you got last month's Treasured Realms, which was the Cloak of Wildflowers, we're having that match the green tea because of like it's trees. I don't know how well you can see it, but like
They're green.
the tea's name is Verdant Harbor, so it kind of matches. So we have a couple of things that match that we're gonna kind of align on the website, which is really exciting. You've been doing a ton on the website.
Website changing. I think the tea is going to be a catalyst to change the rest of the website as well. But yeah, it's fun though. It's fun. It's fun to play with all this new art and
Yeah, for sure.
new colors. Even we kind of stuck to our brand colors a lot for the first round of packaging, but I'm giving myself more liberty to take different color from the different art. So Yeah.
It's fun.
super fun. Okay, topic of the week. Topic of the week is how has gaming been good / bad for you?
I made a list.
Okay,
I came prepared.
sure, go for it.
So I think the first thing I wrote down for good was that I have cool tattoos because of video games.
Okay, what is your coolest video game tattoo?
So my brothers and I, there's three of us, have Triforce tattoos,
Okay,
which is, I think, cliche maybe when it comes to video game tattoos, but we each have like our corresponding triangle and colors shaded in, and then the other two are like black. So
Okay.
like mine, the like I identified with, because you have courage, wisdom, and power, right? So I have the wisdom one like shaded in blue, and like my brothers have the other two like corresponding shaded in their colors.
that's cute.
Yeah, I like kind of lightly bullied my brothers into getting tattoos with me for Christmas one year.
My little sister is trying to do the same thing,
I
but not the Triforce.
I think
She
you
wants
should.
us to get. I don't know if you have seen it, but on the Spam can, there's like these 3 leaves, and she wants us to get the 3 leaves.
I think that's so good. I think you should.
But I don't know which one is wisdom and which one is. But yeah,
I think you definitely should.
how old are your brothers?
They're 4 and 5 years older than me.
Okay, I thought you were about to say 4 and 5, and I was like,
Yeah.
something's wrong with
I
this.
tattooed toddlers.
Okay,
No,
because you're the same age as my little sister, and I'm 4 years older than her. But then my brother is 8 years older, so than me.
like,
So
I don't know. It's both of their only tattoos.
okay,
I have a lot more, but like, it's fun.
this is fun.
Yeah. I also have like I have a little aperture symbol, which I tell people it's because I'm a photographer, because like it's just too long to explain the reference to Portal.
But it
Like
is from
aperture
Portal.
science.
It is the
Yeah,
Portal
it's
aperture.
fully. It's aperture science. I just didn't tell people that when I got it. But I love Portal 2. It's one of my favorite games of all time.
Double meaning.
Yeah. There's layers. But yeah, I don't know. I like tattoos.
Okay. I don't know. Good thing. Just starting with good.
You can start with bad.
Bad news first. Bad news first. I don't know. I think it's stereotypical for many teenage men, boys, to get addicted I think I have dealt with video game addiction. I mean,
That was on my
in
list.
spurts. And I'm also kind of not afraid of like playing lots of video games. It's when it kind of gets in the way of responsibilities or like
Yeah.
taking care of health and stuff like that. So
Yeah, probably. Addictive personalities.
yeah,
It
addictive
can be bad.
personalities. I also think, being addicted to like Animal Crossing is one thing, or addicted to Wordle is like one thing, but like being addicted to like a MOBA that is like super toxic and competitive and like mean spirited, I think is just not good. Not good.
Yeah.
It's just kind of walking around with like base level anger from just like idiots on your opponent's side, but also mostly your teammates is what probably gives you the most anger. So yeah, and I don't really consider myself a very angry person. So yeah, that's
From what
bad.
I've seen, like the couple of times that we've played games here, or
Mm-hmm.
I've seen you play, like Chris gets competitive,
I do like competing. Yeah,
which I appreciate. I appreciate it.
lately I think most of it has been, I don't know, the past 3 years I got addicted to volleyball, so I kind of have been getting it out. But even that has been kind of annoying. Like, okay, super tangent, but like last week we had the playoffs, or 2 weeks ago we had the playoffs to our volleyball thing, and the other team was like touching the net all the time, and we didn't call it a lot, but at some point it was like, hey, you're touching the net, and then they just went off on us.
Just throw the ball at their face.
No, well, it just kind of reminds you, like, oh yeah, there's like those like jerky sports people in like high school. Oh, they like exist as adults too. But at some point, you're like, we're all adults. We're all paying for this. So let's just chill out. Anyways,
That's fair.
I do like being competitive. Yeah,
Cool.
and my game group is like that too. So like when a board game box has like 120 minutes playtime, we kind of just assume it's going to be double or triple.
Oh my god.
Just because, yeah, it's bad. We take a lot of time to think about everything, but
I respect it.
it's fun, but I don't really like inviting, like that's like a core group.
Yeah.
And we don't play those kinds of games. Like invite people without like fair expectation. Like, hey,
Yeah.
this is how they like to play. We like to play. So yeah.
That's fair. That's very fair. Well,
Okay, why is being addicted to Animal Crossing bad? Is that on your list? You gave a look.
no, it's just I was like, oh my god, like, was Animal Crossing bad for me, or did it save my mental health during the pandemic?
Yeah.
Truly, like nothing amazes me. This is also a tangent. Nothing amazes me more than just the timing of Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Of how serendipitous it was.
There were people
for
that were like,
Nintendo.
Nintendo released the virus.
No, truly, truly. I was on that boat for a minute because like, they pushed the date back so much. Like it was
Yeah.
originally supposed to come out in like 2019, early 2019, and like it's just, it astounds me. I remember waking up on the Saturday, like that was supposed to be the end of my spring break, my senior year of college. And I had forgotten there was like a whole saga of why I had missed the pre-order for the Animal Crossing Switch. I was like in tears driving from GameStop to GameStop to try and find one. I did find one. It worked out. But it was like the only thing I could focus on was like Animal Crossing, Animal Crossing,
Yeah.
Animal Crossing. I was either at work or playing Animal Crossing. But it was also like a really lovely way to like invite friends to my island and like give them flowers that they hadn't bred and like have them give me fruit and
Yeah.
all the things. And like I made a little labyrinth in my island, which I'm still very proud of. Yeah, I love Animal Crossing.
I totally dodged Animal Crossing. It seems fun, but I just not for me.
It's definitely like I think a lot of people. I was not a Sims kid.
Okay.
I never played Sims.
Yeah.
But I had Animal Crossing on like every Nintendo console I owned. And I love it. It's just so cute.
Were you part of any like? Okay, the only game I've ever had this with is Destiny 1.
Okay.
But in Destiny 1 there was like third-party websites tracking like, oh, this public event is happening And it was the only. So okay, where I'm going with this is became aware of this like Animal Crossing culture of like oh my turnips or whatever are this price, and then everyone, are you part of this?
The turnips are crazy. Like people literally, the fact that people figured out an algorithm that like is presented as like a randomized thing.
Oh, they figured out
people,
the randomness.
Yeah, like people
Okay.
like figured out like, okay, well if your Sunday turnip price is between this number and this number, then like this is the projections through the week of like how much it goes up and how much it goes down, and like you can expect this percentage increase on this day. And I was like, it's a little much for me.
Okay.
I respect it.
Yeah.
I did really enjoy, like there was that one time that Elijah Wood was like asking somebody on Twitter because her turnips were like super, like being bought for a super high price. So he went to her island and like Elijah Wood from Lord of the Rings was just like hanging out in this like random girl's island. And she was like, what is going on in my life?
That's pretty good.
So like I appreciate that aspect, but it was just like it's too gambly for me because it is the stock market, like literally and figuratively, and I think the stock market is made up. So I just
well,
yeah, but yeah,
cool.
I observed a lot of it. I never participated in that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But another one of my bad things, I think, is just the fact that getting more and more into gaming has just given me an excuse to be on Reddit and
like the paraphernalia around.
Yeah. Just like being on Reddit is so weird.
Well,
I avoided it for so long. And just like people have the weirdest opinions.
Yeah.
Of just like I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing, like how much time I spend on like the D&D subreddits, because people get so angry. And it's like, oh yeah, like there was this one post maybe a month or so ago, 2 months maybe, where a DM was like, yeah, I don't actually like have a hard and fast number for like the HP of enemies. Like I kind of like see how the combat is going and like keep track of how much damage they're doing, and like I want it to be like narratively satisfying for my characters, my players, to like be in this combat and be a part of this. So like I will adjust it based on that and like seeing how they're doing and like keeping it challenging, but like not, you know, trying to have a total party kill. And it blew up. People were so angry at this DM, and I was like, if it works for his table, it works for his table. Like, chill out. And it doesn't matter. Like, if his players trust him to do everything behind the screen, like, that was an agreed upon thing, it doesn't matter. It's not your game. Just be like, oh, I would never do that, and then move on. You don't need to, like, recite the rules as written of, like, this is why you shouldn't do it.
Do you participate in Reddit? Like, do you type?
Sometimes. I actually...
Because I was going to say...
It's a rare occurrence.
I think if you have that measured of a response, you're probably not the people typing.
Oh, no, for sure. But, like, I was playing, not Wordle. I'm not gonna remember what the name is.
Are you addicted to Wordle too? That was
no, I was never a Wordle person. But there's
you can't be too addicted to Wordle.
It's like a word game where like there's like a random word generated every day, and you basically just input words, and it tells you the percentage of how much similarity it is to it.
Okay.
I
pretty close to Wordle.
I need to figure this out.
Speaking of word games, posted a word video game thing. It humbled me because the board game essay I posted had a little bit of views, and then this other one has like 7 views. So if you want to check that out, it's a roguelike deck builder, but you collect letters instead. I think it's really clever. It is literally the hardest deck builder I've played. So
yeah, that was kind of crazy when you gave it that title.
It's weird, but fun.
The game I'm talking about is called Semantle.
Okay.
It's so much fun. But that's actually why I started on Reddit. Because I was like, I can't get like
the pipeline.
I've
the
guessed,
Mantle to Reddit
I've guessed
pipeline.
like 300 words today, and I have like my similarities in going over like 30%. Like this is driving me crazy. So I would go on Reddit to look at some hints of like similar words.
Okay.
And then I just started like, cause people would like, you know, like, oh, I got the word in like this many things, and then you had like the rare person who was like, I guess the same 5 words every single day. Word 3 was the word of the day. I was like, that's insane. So I posted a couple of my scores.
Yeah.
I haven't done it in a while, but like,
Okay.
Yeah.
You're putting this in the bad column though.
yeah, just existing on Reddit.
Okay, that's fair.
I think it might be rotting my brain, but it's where I'm at right
That's
now.
fair. Sweet.
Yeah, and Reddit just has so much knowledge. So maybe this is like a neutral thing, because sometimes I like Google doesn't have an answer, but Reddit does.
Yeah. Cool. I guess my good thing. It's good stuff. Okay, have you ever seen? I don't know. It's cheesy. It's like, I think as an adult, there's like less reasons to like hang out with friends or
Yeah.
like make new friends.
Oh my God, friends were also on my good column.
Yeah.
Aw.
I think also like as a young adult, there's like a, you know, bar and club like ceiling for me, pretty early ceiling in my opinion, to where it's like, okay, I don't think I want to be doing this that much. But yeah, board games, I think super easy, wholesome way to get together with people, way closer with like my in-laws and
Yeah.
brother-in-law and stuff, and yeah, I think it's an easy way, you know, especially if you're shy or deal with social anxiety. It's like in times when conversation is hard, you can always like rely on the game and
Yeah, 'cause
practice.
The game has rules. The
Yeah.
game has a flow in which you follow. The game has a conclusive ending. And like clear people who can like win, lose, all the good things.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And okay. Another one of my good things I've got is just like how expansive the creativity is in like the entire umbrella term of gaming, right? Like, because we have like, you know, board games that have been around for hundreds of years, card games that have been around for decades. You know, then we get like the advent of digital gaming, arcade games, and like now we have like virtual reality and like like TV shows based off D&D games, and like a D&D movie coming out, and then like board game conventions that were like tens of thousands of people attend. Like it's so crazy to me how many creative people all participate in this thing because like they just want to play a game and like have a good time, and I really appreciate that. It makes me really happy.
Yeah. Have you ever seen this clip? I don't I don't remember the person. I'm not part of the scene, but there's this like fighting game tournament. It's like championship. And there's this guy, I think he's like Japanese, and there's a language barrier. So the interviewer is like the whole crowd's going crazy because he just won. And the interviewer is like trying to get answers out of him, like, how do you feel, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, looks at the camera, he's like, fighting games is a good thing. And the crowd is like, going crazy. And it's such a nice moment. It's like, and I'm like, yeah, games is a good thing.
Yeah.
This is good. This is good.
Yeah, and like there are games like Tetris, which like unintentionally have like really positive impacts on like brain development and like attention span and things like that. But then you also have games like, you know, like Animal Crossing, where like the entire point is to just have a good time and like look at some cute things. And then you have games like, you know, MMO games and like battle royale games where like the entire point is like this community that like you are also playing with. It's just so cool.
It is cool. It's cool how there's such a wide range of things to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Andrew is a secret, like, underground skin designer in Black Desert Online, like top 10 in America, apparently. So
Yeah. When they told me that,
there's
I
room
was
for
like, what are
every
you
weirdo.
talking about?
So,
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
had a cousin who was like a ranked Dota player for a while.
yeah.
You know, like it's just, it's so crazy to me. It's
Yeah.
also like, there are certain games that just like transcend. And I think Super Smash Bros. Is at the top of that list. Like, there are very few people that I have encountered that when like, oh yeah, like, do you want to play Super Smash Bros? Like, people will be like, no, like, I'm not very good at it, but they're still willing to sit there and
Let's
watch
go.
it.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's so fun. And if you are really good at it and you're playing other people that are really good at it, then it's just chaos and, like, everyone's having a good time. Like, core memory for me is, like, one of the days I beat my brother, who's a very, very good video game player. He just, like, picks games up super well and super easily. But I beat him when he was, like, playing his main, and I was playing, like, Princess Peach. And I think I was like screaming for like 10 minutes because I was so excited. And that's like a core memory. And it's just
Yeah.
like we're playing Nintendo characters that are like beating the crap out of each other. And like here we are.
So good.
Here we are bonding, you know? Crazy.
Crazy. One more bad thing. My last bad thing is I feel like I don't know if this is more prevalent in the RPG community. In the board game community, there's tons of like materialism and collecting. It's to the point where I think like a lot of my hobbies, the average person in that hobby is not like a collector or like there's a lot of room to enjoy a hobby without collecting, but it feels like in board games, like a lot of people start amassing
Yeah.
and it costs a lot of money. There's a lot of like FOMO and Kickstarter stuff that seems like almost predatory for like missing out on exclusive things, and
Yeah.
it's just a lot.
It's hard with like Kickstarter RPGs. They're like kind of popping up everywhere now.
Yeah.
And it's like so overwhelming because I'm like, I want to be able to play all of these games.
Yeah.
But like a lot of these games, if they're like trying to break away from like the 5e Dungeons and Dragons kind of standard gaming that like a lot of people are familiar with, if they're like getting into tabletops, like you have to learn an entire new system.
Yeah.
And you have to learn entirely new rules, and like that means like an entirely new session 0 to like go over the rules, make your character sheet, like figure out what you want to write, like, and then like it's hard to like have a satisfying RPG with like 2 sessions.
Yeah.
You know, like there's something to be said for one shots, and I love one shots and they hold a very dear place in my heart. But like, especially with the rise of like Dimension 20 and the Adventure Zone and like Dungeons and Daddies and like all these like actual play podcasts and shows, like it's really hard to like want that story and to be able to play a story like that, but like also give the time to new RPGs and tabletop stuff that you want to give it to. And it's just, there's only so much time in the day. It's really hard.
Yeah. And then another sad thing too, for board games, it's kind of from a different direction in that I think a lot of people find novelty in learning new board games and experiencing new board games to where like you'll pay like there are these Kickstarters that like many hundreds of dollars. And if you play it once and it's not super for you, or you want to try something new, like you're in for a lot of monetary value, but also like storage space and all this stuff, and the shipping is like crazy. So yeah, that's just one big negative for me as far as like
I think there's something to be said for like replayability on games.
Yeah.
For me, like for my family, it's Cranium. I think if anybody recommends Cranium, people will want to play, because that was like our OG board game of like what our family started playing. Yeah, like there's something to be said for like games you can only play a couple of times, and then like you've completed whatever's in the box or like whatever the stories are. Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah. That was kind of similar to my last bad thing, so I'll give another good one.
Okay.
I had this realization kind of recently where like I never wanted to be like anything specific as a kid. Like I never wanted to like be an astronaut or like be whatever. I do remember wanting to be characters like Padme or like Elizabeth from like Pirates of the Caribbean movies, or like Laura Croft. So I remember doing that, and like more so with like RPGs and tabletop, D&D type games. I can be all of that. And I feel like my inner child, like 8-year-old me, would be so impressed. And it's so cool. Like, one of my characters that I was playing recently was a fairy barbarian, which, like, in and of itself is so funny to me. But, like, it's just, like, you can literally be, inhabit, live any way that you want. Because it's just make-believe. And, like, everything that I wanted to be as a kid, I can do now in my 20s. And I'm like, that's so crazy. I can't believe that I get to do this. And it's so fun. But yeah, I had that realization recently, and I was like, oh my God. Is this what, like, growing up feels like?
That's awesome.
But it was really nice.
What a good one to end it on. Yeah, I think that's good. I think there is, like, a lot, I don't know. Growing up is overrated a lot of the time. There's a lot of... there's a lot of like boxing in and limiting stuff that
I think growing up
practicality that
growing up is just admitting that you can still be a kid when you want.
Nice. Yeah. All right. Catherine's pulling up questions from the Discord because that is the last segment today.
Alrighty.
Taking questions from the Discord. There'll be a link in the description. Come join us. Come hang out. We talk about coffee, talk about games, we talk about pop culture. Only Catherine and I talk about House of the Dragon in there for some reason. I thought it was a popular show. No one else will talk about it with us.
I can talk about it for so long. I can talk about that, and I can talk about Rings of Power, and I can talk about Andor for so long.
Yeah.
So long.
Oh, this is the second to last thing because we got to do the recommend anything.
Yeah.
Okay, questions.
Okay. From TKO. Why did you decide to branch out into tea? Do you blend your own tea in-house? Who supplies the tea?
Yes.
Yeah, she has a second, they have a second follow-up question that I will address once this is done.
Why did we branch out into tea?
Because people like me exist.
Yeah.
Who don't primarily drink coffee.
Yeah, Catherine is in coffee but doesn't primarily drink coffee, which is totally fine. I think both Andrew and I, when we started in the industry, didn't like coffee that much. I feel like I tell this over and over, but the first time I had an espresso, I was like, why would anybody drink this? What is the point of this?
Yeah.
Now I love drinking espresso as well. But yeah, that's one thing. I think the main concept of the whole brand is like we want to bring people together. We want to respect game night with something like a high quality product, something that you can share. Because like if you notice in all of our like the things we brought up in like what is good about gaming, those are the kinds of things that we think are good about coffee and good about tea. It's like the best part about tea is like, other than tasting really good, is like sharing it or having it around in important moments or like in the cafes. So like, if you're not aware, but Many Worlds Tavern is like a sister company of Boomtown Coffee here in Houston. At Boomtown, we really wanted to respect the cafe setting because we knew the cafe is where people go on first dates. It's where people have important conversations. It's where people reconnect with friends that they haven't seen in a while. Like
First dates, when I was still a barista, watching First Dates was one of like my deep joys. I loved it, and I'm like, I hope this goes great. I hope this goes fantastic.
Yeah. Or like this person is like studying for a really big test in our coffee shop. So I think there's always been this like culture or understanding that if you're going to put coffee in people's lives, we're going to do it with a lot of respect. And I think here in like present company and like the culture of this place, I guess, and then to like further on, like connected back to our conversation earlier is like a lot of people see gaming as like childish or like see the addiction side and be like, what are you doing? You're like wasting your time. But I think, like as for me, like that's important time. Like it can be, it can have negative effects if you overdo it, but that's important time for me. Catherine said like it helps her like fulfill some dreams about and stuff like that, and improve creativity. So yeah, gaming, I think we respect that just like respecting studying for a huge test or a first day in the cafe.
Yeah. It's the desire for a community, right?
Yeah, for sure.
A desire for a community of like-minded people who like enjoy the same things as you do and like understand the excitement that you get when you like open a box with like super cool packaging or like really original game design, right? Like it's just like, you know, people who get it, right? And like people who are curious and like want to get to that point of like welcoming them in to the tavern.
So tea, I think, also occupies that similar space as coffee, as like being a great sidekick for important moments. So tea, we've always wanted to branch out into it. You know, full disclosure, our experience has always been in coffee. So tea, in launching it, we had to do tons of research, get tons of education, taste a lot of samples that, you know, a lot of the time, like new skills, trying different brew methods, stuff like that. And I think we're in a place where we're ready for a humble launch of 9 teas. We're going to do it in our way. We hired some really, really cool artists to help us out with that.
I've already decided that I think I was joking about it. I don't know if you heard me, but like the little dragons on our peach packaging, our peach white tea.
They're so good.
I would totally get a tattoo of one of them. They're so cute. They're little peach dragons. They make me so happy.
So yeah, that's why we branch out into tea. Where do we get our tea? Do we blend it in-house? Currently, we do not blend the teas in-house. We are sourcing them from a company called Rishi Tea. They're our wholesale relationship. And as time goes on, we'd love to improve our education further, utilize these as a baseline as far as our understanding and education of what good tea tastes like, because we've trusted Rishi with, you know, we know they're a really popular purveyor and have really high quality teas. There's local relationships we're trying to pursue with local tea companies. You know, we don't have a Charged Realm equivalent for teas yet, but that's another thing that we're trying to roll out with hopefully new purveyors, maybe in-house tea and so on. But as far as going with Rishi, they have a lot of similar values as us. They provide lots of transparency as far as where they get their teas, and it's just a great product. So, yeah. What was the third part of your question?
That was kind of okay. So those are the first couple questions.
The first bit. Okay.
The last part of it, from TKO, is Mini Me, I believe her daughter, who's like 10, I believe she's mentioned, wants to know if we'd consider doing a coloring book with the artwork that we have, and how old she needs to be to join the Discord, because while she doesn't like coffee, she does love games and tea.
Coloring book, that sounds so fun.
Yeah.
We'll add it to the list. You know, people give us so many good ideas, and I feel bad that we don't like create them very quickly sometimes, because there's a lot of things to do.
It's also like it's 3 of us who like focus effort. We have like the roasters, and we have like people in the back who are also a part of the team, but like in terms of like, you know, handling social media and like handling emails and handling all of like the boring day-to-day things that we have to do to like make sure that we can continue to make coffee, it's 3 of us. Yeah.
But coloring book, you know, that's not the craziest.
No. I do think it'd be fun.
It'd be super fun.
And I know it's not the first time she's mentioned it.
Yeah. So that's on the list. We definitely want to get a Treasured Realm passport made. That's been mentioned in the Discord as well. So lots of ideas. As far as joining the Discord, I think, you know, I don't know what Discord's TOS is, so you didn't hear it from me, but it's probably fine. There's some aggressive auto moderating stuff in the Discord now, so I think we're safe. But yeah. Use your own discretion.
Yeah. I mean, especially because TK has been in the Discord for a while. I feel like if you feel comfortable allowing your child into the community, like, why not? She likes game. We have some people who like only come into the Discord to like post their minis, and then they're like,
yeah, that's awesome.
Like, some of the minis are so sick. I'm like, that's insane. The patience that you must have. But yeah, like, why not?
Yeah.
But we didn't. If it goes against Discord rules, you didn't hear it from us. Okay, and then our next question. What from 10th Walker? Who was the person who asked about the D&D alignments for coffee equipment last time? What do you look for when you're deciding where we're sourcing from for our coffee and or tea? From farmers, vendors, etc.
Yeah, it kind of bled into the earlier question, but the number one, like, non-negotiable is, like, we want it to be relatively ethically sourced. So you can read about it on our website. The coffees are not fair trade, but that's not because we do not, like, agree with the concept of fair trade. But fair trade is, like, how to explain it? It's a really good ideal to have a certification that ensures ethically sourced coffee, but there's some cons to it. Number one, it's a certification you have to pay for. So some of the very small producers that we work with, it's not realistic to expect them to pay for the certification. Also, it is very dependent on the C price of coffee, which is the commodity price. I don't know the exact numbers, but usually there's like an interval above C that fair trade that's like their floor, which is good to have in that, it's more than the commodity. But currently, all of our coffees are at least double the fair trade requirement that we source. And a lot of them are more, especially the Treasured Realm. The Treasured Realm has a premium price on it, but that's because along with the goodies, a lot of the coffees are sourced at a much higher cost to us. And we work with importers and producers that can provide that, the transparency back through the whole chain. So that's like a non-negotiable. That's like one thing as far as why we source from people. The next big thing, as long as that's in the row, we source from all different kinds of producers and importers. Mm-hmm. How it works a lot of the time is we have long-running relationships with people. They'll send us coffees to try, and we'll taste them. We have a process called cupping where we grade the coffee and decide what to buy from there. And that can come from long-standing relationships. It can come from the other day, somebody knocked on our door and we found out they were the Brazilian Cup of Excellence winner, which is wild. Cup of Excellence is essentially like, hey, I have the best coffee in Brazil. And I think Brazil is like 1.7 billion pounds of coffee or something exported. Yeah. So I was like, oh, hello.
It was really good.
So that's really, really exciting. So it can be from that. It can be from like, oh, there's a new rep from this importing company in Houston. They want to meet us and talk and drop off some samples. So super wide range of who we buy from. And yeah. And then tea, Rishi, like I said, they have similar values. They have curated a lot of tea from, a wide world that we're just now waddling into and excited to learn more and more about tea.
Yeah. I can't remember if it's on the bags. It might be on the cards that come with the tea that will list their sources.
Yes.
Yeah. So, like, for example, the chai that we have is, like, largely sourced from India. And, like, the blend it also consists of like a couple other things, but like its primary blend is India, or like I know our breakfast tea is like a Chinese breakfast tea, so it's kind of similar like that. But on the if you've ordered our coffee and you get the little Magic the Gathering token with like the little info card on the back, we'll have the same thing for the teas of like country of origin, like where they come from, their caffeine levels, all that kind of stuff, which is all like very helpfully provided from Rishi.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else to add?
Good question.
Yeah, that
Both
was a
good
good question.
Everything good. Yeah.
I believe that was it.
That's it.
For this week. I kind of forgot to send until
I know.
earlier today.
It was good. It was good.
I was like, oh
Two
yeah, by the
questions
way.
is good. Last time we got a lot, which is great, but yeah, it took up the main pod. So
Yeah. So recommendations.
Recommendations. Go. Talk about Andor.
Oh my god.
I haven't watched Andor yet, but
It's
Catherine's freaking
so
out.
good. It's so good. Oh my god. As somebody who grew up watching Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, having Rings of Power and Andor is bringing me so much joy. I think I talked about Rings of Power last time, but Andor, I can't watch shows until I watch everything before it. So I had to watch Boba Fett, I had to watch Obi-Wan, which was like fine. But like Andor is so good. The intro was shocking. Like I was so shocked that Disney put something like that on a flagship show for Star Wars. I think the concept is great. I think the setting is super fascinating. We're finally like not on a desert planet and not talking about the Jedi. So it's like, which we got a little bit of with Mandalorian, and I love Mandalorian so much. I love Pedro Pascal. And I have a very deep fascination for like Mandalore as a planet and like their whole thing and like how they coexisted as a foil to the Jedi, which is like super cool and fascinating as like warriors, but like also it's Andor's so good. And I love Rogue One, and it's a prequel to Rogue One, and it's just like the acting is phenomenal, the writing is phenomenal. If this was like airing on like HBO or like network television, like it would be a super strong standalone story, which is like I think where Star Wars should be grabbing content from, of like beyond the Skywalker story, right? Like there's so much in a galaxy, and like there's so much interesting things that you can do and that we can see and that we can experience in this galaxy and in these worlds. And Andor is doing it so well. It's so good. Like I don't know the last time I enjoyed a sci-fi show this much. Like it's so good. Oh, it's so good.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I'm excited.
If you're not watching it, I think you should.
Okay. I have not. I did not like Rogue One that much.
Which is so crazy to me. Because I love Rogue One.
Yeah.
I think it's one of their strongest movies. Hands down. And I know that we disagree on that. And that's fine. But I do disagree with you.
I understand.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's like the only thing, like the only show that I can recommend this week. It's the only thing I've cared about.
Cool.
I also started playing Dragon Age Origins for the very first time. There's been a lot of games. I was explaining this to Andrew and Chris of like, when I was growing up, my brothers and I none of us got along. Well, they got along. I didn't get along with them. So they played all the games and I watched all the games. So there's like iconic games from like early aughts that I just never played. And Dragon Age is one of them. I'm obsessed with it. It's so good.
Okay.
It's very 2009.
The Grey Wardens. Yeah.
It's very 2009, but I'm having a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Andor. Dragon Age I played, so that's good stuff. Yeah, Andor. I'm excited. I'm excited that you said that they're, it's kind of branching off. I feel like Star Wars just needs to stop with the connections and cameos and the fan
I have
service.
a lot of
Just
opinions.
stop.
I have so much. I have so many opinions about Star Wars.
Yeah.
I have
I
a
mean,
lot.
we've had these conversations.
Yeah.
That'll be a podcast topic one time. Why does everything that Chris loves turn to dust.
If we're only talking about Star Wars, we need to invite Antonio back.
Sure. Cool. I'm excited.
Yeah. It's great.
Recommend
So great.
anything. I've been watching, I already told you this earlier, but I've been watching this YouTube channel called Cinema Therapy.
Mm-hmm. It's
so good. It's a filmmaker and a therapist reacting to movies. And I first came upon their content. They're reacting to Good Will Hunting, which is one of my favorite movies.
Oh.
And it's like therapist reacts to movie therapy is like one of their
running bits.
Yeah, one of their shows, I guess. And so he's talking about Robin Williams in that movie and how he conducts therapy and kind of like how he would do things similarly or differently. Or
did he was it a good?
Yeah,
good
he said he was saying like a lot of the therapy is pretty realistic. Obviously, the like laying hands on your patient is not gonna. No, you don't do that. It's over if you do that.
Okay.
But it's really insightful. Even stuff with like, okay, there's a point where they hug, and then he talks about like the gray area of hugging your client and stuff like this. And I'm like, oh, this is so interesting.
But he had to go see about a girl.
It's true. It's true. That's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
We can agree on that one. But yeah, it's really fantastic. I'm gonna add Catherine as a Twilight fan, so I really love their series about Twilight. You don't have to qualify it.
I am gonna qualify this because I didn't watch the movies until I was 23. I had no interest when I was a teenager. I read the books, but I didn't care about the movies.
Fine if you did.
And I've said this to Chris several times. I respect Twilight as a movie franchise so much. Not because like they're, great writing or like fantastic acting, but like
because they're pretty werewolves. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like these producers were like, who's our target audience? 12 to like 19-year-old girls. That's it. If you're not in that category, get out. You don't matter to us. We want nothing to do with you. But like as a teenage girl watching those movies, like it totally makes sense why Twilight has the fan base that it does, because it was literally just a Wattpad story.
Yeah,
come to life literally. With like werewolves and vampires and like, oh my god, poor Charlie, the father. Like,
yeah,
it's so iconic, and I don't think
poor Charlie.
I don't think we talk about the fact that they were just like, this is only for a very specific niche audience, and if you don't like it, we don't care about you. And I respect it so much because a lot of studios and like franchise movies don't do that as often anymore. Everyone wants to make everyone happy, and it's like, you can make things for a specific audience. Like, that's fine. Because when you do that, it's going to be, people will love it. There will be maybe fewer people, but there will be people that love it. Anyways, go watch Twilight.
Yeah, and go watch Cinema Therapy's series on Twilight. Yeah, that's all I got. Oh, the last thing I could think of. Did you watch the Super Mario movie trailer?
I did not.
Okay, here's my recommendation. It looks kind of good.
Okay, I did hear. I have
as a hater of Chris Pratt.
I know. We're on the same page.
It looks kind of fun.
Anti Chris Pratt, but I am 300% pro Jack Black.
Oh yeah.
And my brother actually sent me the link, and he was like, "You need to watch it." And I haven't watched it yet, but like, Jack Black as Bowser? Are you kidding me? And then dyeing his beard orange during press? I love that man. He's such a treasure.
But the whole trailer is a trip. It's kind of scary, but it's pretty funny.
The animation looks crazy. It's
really pretty. And then the whole trailer, like, I'm just waiting for the Mario voice. Like, what is he gonna do? Am I about to be offended? Is it gonna be really high pitched? I'm just like waiting with bated breath.
Yeah.
And he kind of sounds Italian American, and that's it.
I did see a tweet that was like,
looks kind of good.
Chris Pratt ... sounds like Chris Pratt, and I was like, makes sense. He's not a voice actor. Good. He's an actor.
It's kind of good.
Okay, noted.
Okay. The next pod.
Noted.
That's it. That's all I got. Anything else?
I I feel like I just finished a book recently, but I don't remember what it was. No, I didn't finish a book. I started a book. The Elusive Shift, which is kind of like an academic examination of the history of tabletop RPGs.
Oh, yeah.
Which I've mentioned a couple of times. It's so fascinating. And I'm just like, this is crazy. Like, the game that I'm playing, a fairy barbarian,
Yeah.
like arguing with Archfey in the Feywilds, has roots in like 17th century war tactics. It's just so weird that like this is the world we live in. But it's a really cool book.
Who's the writer? Are they?
I could not tell you.
But like, is their background like? It is like an academic like.
Yeah, so it's like
okay.
it's like a professor from MIT.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Elusive Shift.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Okay.
I'm only a few chapters in, so maybe it gets
Sure.
awful, but
Yeah.
like for now, it's good.
All right. That's going to be it for Many Worlds Tavern episode 10, the podcast episode 10. That's it. October 21st is the goal. We may have a pre-order if we get everything in line before then. Until then, subscribe. Sign up for the newsletter. You get a free D&D adventure one-shot. And you'll be notified when T comes out. Join the Discord because we love talking to people. One more shout out to Max from the Table Knots. He's been hosting games of Blood on the Clock Tower and inviting our Discord so graciously. He does a great job hosting, so that's on there as well.
Yeah.
And we'll catch you all around.